there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 941 of What's She Up To Now, documenting my journey as I transition from the brick and mortar world and corporate America, regular businesses in like 27 different industries, to the online world. And what that's looked like for me over the last, almost 3 years now, 941 days plus, because I didn't hop online and do videos right away. And actually today, I will admit, I'm calling this Forget Me Not because I totally forgot to do this video this morning. Normally I create my content before my amazing little granddaughter comes, and she's on vacation today, and as I was popping through my usual videos, my usual content creation, I went upstairs to process them and realized, I did not do an update video. I didn't do my daily vlog or journal of what I'm working on, what's working, what's not, lessons learned. And my lesson learned today is maybe I need a little checklist or something that reminds me I've actually got my content created before I start to go do something different. Anyway, what's going on? Get Up and Go Challenge Day 26 today. Talked about and used the SOAP framework. SOAP is the framework that we're using to guarantee we have better results after a change or a challenge or an obstacle or a problem than if we hadn't had that problem at all. So instead of a challenge or an obstacle giving us a hard time and making us feel bad, we actually are guaranteed that we're going to have a better result than if we even encountered or had that problem. Guess what? You can do that with anything, even things as big as COVID-19, even things outside of our control. We can install in ourselves a framework or a process for dealing with things that guarantees that we always end up better off, that we're always moving in the direction we want our life to go in every area and aspect of our life. So that was the Get Up and Go Challenge Day. And we were talking about using the SOAP framework on our spiritual health, our spiritual well-being, and how we can apply that. Went through in more detail for financial relationships and physical well-being, because those tend to be the three areas that people get knocked out of their life or temporarily sidelined in more than any other areas. Relationship challenges, divorce, bad relationships, breakups, getting married, that's a positive change, but having kids, family changes, anything that has to do with people tends to have a huge impact on our lives. Anything that has to do with finances tends to have a huge impact on our lives, and nothing will stop you faster in your tracks than having a health challenge or a diagnosis or an illness or an accident. So those three, we spent 4 days each on going through the SOAP framework individually, day by day, SOAP, and how you apply it to your life. But then I realized, okay, well, there's 4 other areas of our life that we have to pay at least a little attention to that we don't have time to cover in a free 30-day challenge. So what can we do? So I decided that for 4 days, each day we were going to take one of those other 4 areas and go through an example of the SOAP framework and how you would apply it or how you could apply it in your life. So today was the spiritual, and tomorrow will be contribution, and then we'll have all 7 done. We'll spend a couple of days reinforcing, wrapping up, figuring out, and really honing in on the strategy to make sure that the SOAP framework or some framework for handling changes and challenges, really all the challenges is a change, and the change process, it's been the same from the beginning of time. It's just whether we control it and we make sure that we have the results come out in our favor, or things outside of us control how changes impact and affect us. And then we're just kind of like a ship blowing around in the wind without any course set, and we don't know where we're going to end up. We don't know if we'll actually end up where we want to end up. So we want to take back control and personal responsibility for that, and make sure that every challenge and every change that comes into our life leads us more in the direction we want to go, or in the direction we want to go with our lives more often than not. So that was a Get Up and Go challenge today. Fun challenge, 365-day fun challenge. Today was day 232 already. So 232 days out of our 365, give or take a couple of days. It's always more days than less. So we'll probably do more than 365 days, but for sure 365 days. So I just called it a year-long 365-day challenge. And fun was a really good thing to pick this year, because COVID has not been fun in a lot of instances for a lot of things that are going on and happening in our lives and our world. It's just like they've been blown up, and it's huge chaos. And so having a daily look for fun challenge has really, really made the whole situation more palatable. That and hanging out with my beautiful granddaughter. She's starting school next week, and I'm going to miss her so much. I thought that yesterday was our last day together because she and her mom are going on vacation for her birthday. And then I thought she started school on the 1st, but she doesn't start until the 4th. Kindergartners get to start a little later, so I get to spend 4 days with her next week. Super excited about that. And I'll still see her. I mean, she's still my granddaughter. It's just like I had the blessing of being able to hang out with her every day during COVID, Monday through Friday. And then sometimes I got to have sleepovers too. And so I got attached to her, and I love her energy. She just keeps me going, and we have so much fun together. And that has made COVID fun, which, again, perfect that we selected that we would do one fun thing every day. It's important that we look for what we want in the world, not what we don't want. So if I'm looking for happiness, if I'm looking for joy, if I'm looking for fun, if I'm looking for ways to stretch my comfort zone, and I say these things because last year I did a 365-day do one thing every day that makes you happy. The year before that, I did a 365-plus day do one thing every day that scares you, to stretch my comfort zone. Why? Because I used to be afraid of stuff back then. It's when I first started doing videos, was, okay, I'm going to do this every day. I'm going to hop on video and do this every day, because that is the thing I need to stretch my comfort zone the most in. And what better way to do that and hold myself accountable than to make myself hop online every day and stretch my comfort zone and do the video. And that's why I say those things. And then last year, I just want to be happier. I was finalizing my divorce and all of the asset separation and things with that, moving and going through a ton of changes and a ton of challenges, and I just wanted to be happier every day. So I was looking every day for something to be happy about. And this year I thought, okay, divorce is done. I'm happier than I was before. Now what do I want to do? I want to have some fun. I want to make sure that I'm having more fun in my life. So I had picked fun even before COVID. So, and actually it worked out pretty well, because I was really sick over Christmas and New Year's with some kind of a flu bug. Maybe COVID, who knows? We don't know when and where it came from, right? Okay, oh yeah, we know it came from China, but we don't know when it came from China. So, actually, that just made me think of that. My son was telling me today that they're finding people that didn't even have symptoms are having long-term cardiac impact, and so I need to make an appointment with my cardiologist anyway. It's about that time. Once a year, I still go see him, even though I don't always want to. I still do. All right. So that was that. But the fun challenge, I didn't even tell you what it was about. It was about picking a time in the past, any time in the past. If you could live at any other time in the past besides right now, when would you like to have lived? Which I thought was a great question, because I got to admit, I've never ever thought about that. I remember in high school we used to have sock hops, and we would go back to the 50s. You know, everybody goes back about 20 years before them when they do their dances and things at school. I don't know if schools still do that, but in high school, I graduated in the 70s, so we always went back to the 50s and had back to the 50s dances and sock hops and stuff every year. And so, well, I thought the 50s might be kind of fun, and then I thought, I would have liked to have lived in the Old West, like on a ranch or something. That would be cool. To anything that would have been allowed me to be in the outdoors and in nature, I guess. I still would like that. So, I don't know, I'm kind of spoiled. I think that the time we live in is pretty darn fantastic. You know, and you can say, oh, the world's got all these problems, it's so terrible. But man, if you look at the upside of the advantages and the things that we can do that we could not even do 10 years ago, it's sort of mind-boggling. You know, I think about my little cell phone, and on that one cell phone, that would have been like almost all the computing capability that we had when we first started getting computers in the museum. And they took up, you know, gymnasium-sized rooms. So you can look at bad things in the world and focus on them, or you can look at the good things in the world and focus on them. I'm always going to vote for the good things. I'm always going to focus on, does it mean I don't notice or hear about or be impacted by some of the bad things? Of course not. I just don't choose to stay miring in the BS and the madness and the craziness and the nonsense. I'm totally embarrassed by my state right now. I was embarrassed by Minnesota when all the rioting first started, and now I'm actually embarrassed by Wisconsin. That's my home state. I live on the border. I'm totally embarrassed by my state in Wisconsin and our people's inability to think for themselves and use their brain. I mean, 3 days of rioting, what the F? And I haven't used what the F since 2010 when I dropped dead, or very rarely. So, come on, people. Let's start thinking for ourselves. Let's start treating people the way we want to be treated. Let's start treating everybody as amazing human beings and infinite beings that they are. And let's stop making excuses for power grabs and politics and greed and our own personal manipulative behavior. Let's just stop. Everybody just stop the crap. Stop the insanity. All right, I'm getting off on a soapbox. So, fun challenge. What other time would you have liked to live? I think I was born in the 60s. I really wouldn't want to go back there. The 70s were pretty weird and crazy, but, you know, no, probably not. The 80s was pretty fun. I got to admit, the 1980s, I had a pretty good time. But would I want to go back and live in them? Not so much. The 90s? No. 2000s wasn't that long ago, so no. I like when we live now. So I'd love to know, that'd be a fun one in the comments below. If you could go back to some past time, when would you want to live? Maybe you'd want to live in ancient Egypt. Maybe you'd want to live in some other ancient civilization time. Maybe you'd want to go back to the time of the cavemen. I don't know. If you're a guy, maybe that sounds really appealing to you. I don't know. Neanderthal man. Let's go back to them. So that was kind of a fun one. And if my little granddaughter were here and not on vacation, she and I would be playing about that. But I don't know. It'd be kind of hard because she's only 5. So how would she know what other time she'd like to go to? We don't watch much movies or TV or anything. We do watch more YouTube than I care to admit. But we've learned how to do some really crazy things on YouTube. When in doubt, we Google it or we YouTube it and we find out how to do something, which is fun. It's a quick and easy and fun way to learn. It's amazing the things that we can learn nowadays online. And I think that's why I'm excited about the time we live in, is there are excuses for not figuring something out or doing something or understanding or learning something. They're pretty thin, right? It's pretty thin when you say, especially during COVID, I don't have time. I don't have time to set my priorities. I don't have time to learn a new thing. I don't have time to study something that I've been curious about and interested in for 10 years, but I've never had the time before. You know, there's upsides to COVID if we look for them. And if we look for them and we concentrate on them, we'll create more of them. Out of this pandemic will come more solutions and more industries and more change and more growth and more personal development.